Most people think that cancer just happens. But the truth is, your body produces abnormal cells every single day. And in most cases, your body recognizes them, regulates them, and clears them before they even become a problem. So I want you to hold on to this idea. Cancer is often not a surprise. It is a signal of imbalance. I know this personally because my grandmother is a breast cancer survivor. And growing up, that stayed with me. Because when something runs in your family, you start to wonder, is this something waiting for me too? At that time, she went through conventional treatment, but she also tried traditional Chinese medicine. And my father shared something, and since then, it stuck with me. There was this one time my grandmother had really high fever, and it only settled after TCM support. As a child, that made me very much afraid. But as I grew older, became a doctor, that fear slowly turned into something else. Understanding. And understanding changes the way you see your body completely. Healing is like tending a garden, and in every video, we water the roots. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Amy, a traditional Chinese medicine doctor, and today we will be talking about cancer. Not from a place of fear, but from a place of understanding. Because when you understand your body, you realize how much influence you really have. In traditional Chinese medicine, we don't just look at a disease, we look at the patterns. Cancer is often seen as a combination of two things: 正气, your body's internal strength, and an accumulation of internal factors. 正气 is your body's ability to defend, regulate, and repair. When it is strong, your body handles abnormal changes quietly. But when it is weaker, things start to linger. At the same time, internal factors start to build up. Phlegm, dampness, blood stasis, heat, so what we call toxins. And over time, these create an internal environment where things that should not grow start to grow. Think of our body like a garden. If the soil is healthy, the water flows, the atmosphere is just right, weeds or things that were not part of your ecosystem will not take over. But if the environment shifts, even slightly, growth changes. This is something I really want you to understand, because once you see it, you cannot unsee it. In TCM, we don't just ask what is growing. We ask, why is it able to grow in the first place? Your body is like a planet. If the environment is balanced, nothing abnormal can thrive. But if it becomes stagnant, damp, overheated, or weakened, then suddenly things start to appear. For example, cysts, fibroids, nodules, polyps, and even acne. Not randomly, but because the environment allows it. And this is where the thinking shifts. Because even if something is removed, if the environment stays the same, there is a possibility that it comes back. Now, I want to say this very clearly. I am not against modern medicine. I go for my checkups. I believe in proper diagnosis. And when something needs to be removed, sometimes that is absolutely the right decision. But what I am offering you is another layer. Removing something doesn't always mean resolving the issue. And when we understand the environment, we gain something very powerful: influence. Let me share something I see very often in clinic. Patients come in and say, I'm so scared, I'm so worried, I went to do a bunch of health checkup and this is the result. They find out that they have cysts, nodules, polyps, and even fibroids. And then the doctor tells them to monitor it closely. And as they were giving me their papers, their health reports, I glanced at them and they don't really look sick per se, but they do complain of being tired, having headaches, a lot of tension in the body, and digestive issues. And this is when things become interesting, because in TCM we don't see these as separate problems. We see it as parts of the same environment. The fatigue, the digestion, the emotions, the physical growth, they are not random, they are connected. And here's something I think about a lot. Sometimes patients will say, I sleep very late, but it's okay. I have a lot of work to do. And they say it with pride. And every time I hear that, I feel very conflicted, because I understand not everyone has the luxury to choose a slower life. My patient, she is a CEO, a mother of 2, and her work is international work. She often flies between China and Australia and various other parts of China. So she is very, very busy. And she's an amazing mom as well. Not only her, but my other patients as well. Not everyone can say no to work. For many people, work is survival. But at the same time, they're trading their health for it. And that is the part that is hard to watch. Which is why I started doing this, YouTube. Because even if your situation cannot change immediately, your awareness can. And with awareness, you can still protect your body, even if just a little. And then there's another moment that I think about a lot. A patient would look at me and say, I have nodules. I'm so scared. I also have cysts. And I understand that fear. I really do. This is where being a TCM doctor becomes difficult, because the problem is often simple, but the solution, not always easy. I can guide you, I can explain, I can treat the pattern, but I cannot live out your life for you. And real change comes from what you do every single day. There is often a misconception that TCM is slow, but that is not actually true. TCM is only slow when the pattern is not correctly identified, or when the lifestyle does not change. Because your body is not a switch. It is a system, and systems change through consistency. There is a saying, you can lead a horse to the water, but you cannot make it drink. And honestly, that is what it feels like sometimes. This is not about being perfect. This is about understanding your body is always responding. So instead of waiting for something to go wrong, you can start creating an environment where things go right. And this brings us back to something very important. What your body grows is influenced by the environment you provide. And when that environment changes, the outcome can change too. And this doesn't happen overnight. It happens through small things repeated. For example, if stress becomes constant, qi becomes constrained. If qi is constrained, circulation slows. When circulation doesn't flow, it means that blood is not flowing. When blood doesn't flow, you get blood stasis. And from blood stasis, things can accumulate. Or if digestion is weak, nutrients are not properly transformed. If nutrients aren't properly transformed, dampness accumulates. And dampness is one of the biggest contributors to cysts, nodules, and metabolic issues. So what looks like something just happened is often a result of a long process. And this is why we see so much of it today. We have better food, more supplements, more health information, but also more stress, more sitting, more irregular eating, and more emotional suppression. Even when people are doing all the right things, the system is overwhelmed. And when that happens, accumulation begins. I want you to pause for a moment. Ask yourself, do I feel light or heavy in my body? Do I digest easily, or do I feel bloated? Do my emotions move, or do they stay stuck? Because these are not small details. They are signals, and the earlier you notice them, the easier it is to change direction. Let me share something else that is very real from clinic. I had a patient come to me and ask, my mother-in-law just finished her chemotherapy. Is there anything that I need to watch out for in terms of diet? And I love this question because this is where support matters a lot. My answer was actually very simple, not complicated, and not restrictive. I told her, avoid cold food, avoid greasy, heavy food, and be mindful of things we call 法物. Now, 法物 is something I'll explain properly in another video, but very simply, these are food that can stimulate or aggravate the body in certain conditions. So instead of focusing on the perfect superfood, which honestly I don't believe in superfood because every single food is a superfood. It depends on how it is taken. Everything should be in moderation. So we need to focus on creating a gentle and stable internal environment. Thus, it is important to eat warm and easy to digest food, have simple meals, support the digestion, and support recovery. Because after chemotherapy, the body is not weak per se, but it is recovering. And how you support that phase matters a lot. And this is where I also want to clarify something important. There is often a misconception that you either choose TCM treatment or modern medicine treatment. These cannot go together. But in reality, they often work quite well together. They complement each other. For example, acupuncture is now used in many medical settings to support patients going through chemotherapy. It can help with nausea, pain, fatigue, and overall recovery. This is not about choosing one over the other. It is about understanding that different systems support the body in different ways. And when used appropriately, they complement each other beautifully. For me, having a family history used to feel like a risk. Now it feels like awareness. It doesn't mean that something is waiting for me. I just need to check in on myself often. Not perfectly, but consistently. And this shift will change everything. Like me, instead of asking, will I get cancer? I want you to ask another question. What kind of environment am I creating every day? Because your body is not random, it is responsive. And when the environment is right, what should not grow will not grow. Healing is like tending a garden, and when you take care of the soil, everything else follows. So my lovelies, I hope that after this video, you feel a little bit less scared and a little bit more empowered, because there are things that you can start doing right now. Take care of your internal environment. And I also want to say a very big thank you to Mercurius 6699 for suggesting this topic. Many of you have emailed me on suggestions and where I can make improvements. So honestly, there's a lot on my list, but I'm excited. And truly, having all your support means the world to me. So my lovelies, I wish you all good health, and good health is the ultimate fortune, the only investment with endless return. And when do we start investing? Right now. We got it.